Hi, Mr. Anderson here, and today we're going to be looking at context clues. What are context clues? You're going to need to know what context clues are for your next mapping project in regards to Dark Day War on Golden Eyes. So to define context clues, the meaning of context clues is to look for clues in the meaning of words. So there are a variation of ways that you can use context clues while reading a text. Sometimes sentences include examples that help a reader define an unknown word. The words or phrases that can give it away as to what a word means are such as, consist of, including, or for example. So, in the first example that I have here, it reads, alternative energy sources include wind, solar, and water power. So alternative basically means a different choice, and the way we know that is because of the word include, and it's also including these different options for energy sources. So alternative, once again, means different choice. Uh, More practice. Number two, the decision was controversial because it consisted of points that might anger people on either side of the issue. So controversial. So controversial means arguable, and the way we know that is because the different points that might anger people on either side of the issue. So basically, consisted of kind of is our context clue to figuring out what our keyword controversial means. Um, the next example, if I could get it, the next example is primitive peoples such as the native populations of Africa and Australia have never used electricity or gas-powered vehicles. Now, based off of the our context clues such as native populations of Africa and Australia have never used electricity or gas-powered vehicles, that usually means that it's primitive might mean the earliest people in existence. So that's what I'm going to go with as primitive. And if I were to look it up in dictionary.com, that's probably what it would say is the earliest peoples or something along those lines. Um, Number four, Tim's ambitious efforts, including adding illustrations and completing extra research, earned him an A on the assignment. So Tim's ambitious efforts, including adding illustrations and completing extra research, earned him an A on the assignment. Ambitious, to me, based off of this context clue, including adding illustrations and completing extra research, um, it basically means that Tim was probably eager or he had a strong desire to earn extra research. Whoops. So, antonym and contrast clues for context clues. Sometimes readers can define an unknown word by contrasting the unknown word with a known word or idea. Antonym and contrast clues often begin with words such as unlike, as opposed to, instead of, rather, and not. So, for an example, balloons were first made from animal bladders. Unlike wood or glass, animal bladders have elasticity. And elasticity means the ability to stretch because it's unlike wood or glass. So it's basically able to like stretch out a little bit. On to the next. The next example for antonym and contrast clues is rubber does too. Instead of remaining the same dimensions, rubber expands when filled with hydrogen or air. This word should be filled, but that's okay. So expands means to basically grow. So instead of remaining like this jar of like coins where I can't like stretch it out or anything, it's going to like, again, it's going to expand, it's going to grow outward. So when it's filled with hydrogen or air. Another example of antonym or contrast clues it reads, in fact, rubber expanded by hydrogen does not become heavy by having something added to it. Rather, it becomes so light that it ascends into the air. So, ascends means rises. And one of our context clues here is, of course, rather, but also, in fact, rubber expanded by hydrogen does not become heavy by having something added to it. Rather, it becomes so light that it ascends into the air. So moving right along. Our next way of identifying a context clue is by definition and synonym clues. So sometimes defining an unfamiliar word is easy because its definition or familiar synonym for the word is directly stated in the sentence. A lot of the times you'll see you'll be reading and then all of a sudden a confusing word pops out of nowhere and then a comma precedes after, or it comes right after the confusing word, and then it has like this little excerpt. That's the definition of that word. So let me show you. So for an example, commas, dashes, and the word is, are, was, were, and or are often hints that a definition or synonym is coming up. So the first example of definition and synonym clues for context clues is artifacts or objects crafted by humans a long time ago were found at the digging site. Artifacts is basically, the definition is right here. Objects crafted by humans a long time ago. So that's your definition for artifact. So the commas are basically coming after the word that you may not know, and then it's giving you a brief explanation as to what this word means. The second example using definition or synonym clues is the Plate River School. Our biggest rival is our scariest competitor. The word is the context clue, and right here, scariest competitor. That's basically what rival means. It's pretty straightforward. The third example for context clues using commas, dashes, and or, it is fascinating to study ancient or old civilizations that no longer exist. Of course, the word ancient is the word that we are trying to define, and ancient, of course, means old. The next way of identifying context clues is word part clues. Knowing the individual parts of a word sometimes helps a reader identify the meaning of the entire word. So if you know the root word, it's pretty easy to know what the definition of that word is going to be. So, mal means bad, so I knew it wasn't good when Dad said the car malfunctioned. So functioning means that it's working properly. Mal, of course, means bad. So it's no longer working properly or failed to work properly, as it says down here. The second example is we got adjoining rooms at the hotel. So the root word join means connecting or neighboring. So adjoining, neighboring, or connecting. So we basically looked at a few ways to use context clues in helping us define words, but now we're going to be looking at context clues in a different kind of way. So for this project, you are to reread the story Dark They Were and GoldenEye. As you are reading the story, you need to look for context clues that give you a true understanding of what the colony on Mars might look like. For this project, I'm not going to expect you guys to be on the same page as me when I show you my example of my little map here that I drew. So everybody's map is going to look different. And that's okay. That's as long as you're following the guidelines to the rubric and you're following the guidelines in general, that's okay. Next bullet point, you need to use actual context clues that might tell you, the reader, where certain things are geographically according to the story. So if you read in the text that the rocket is located in a certain location in the colony, then you should probably use that context clue to help you draw that rocket on your map in that certain location, and then the Martian villas be somewhere else, you know. Moving right along, applying context clues continued. By understanding how to identify meanings of words through context clues, this is identifying images mapping through context clues as well. And that's something that I already explained. Guidelines for this project. You may choose your partner to work on this project with you. You need to complete your 10 context clues that are cited from the story before you can start on the map of the Earthling colony on Mars. So what this means is that you need to have my seal of approval before you can start coloring, drawing your map out. You need to have your context clues. You need to show me that you completed the 10 context clues. You need 10 of them cited exactly from the text Dark Day War on Goldeneye. If you don't have that, you do not have the right to start mapping out your thing and start coloring and drawing and all this. You need to do the hard stuff first. Please complete the project on the paper I provide you, and know you may not have a new one when you mess up. This paper that I'm going to give you is not it's not cheap, and it's also not easy to find either. So it may look cheap at first, but it's actually not. So please make sure we try to conserve paper. Guidelines continued. You will work on this project till Thursday, 12/18. That's not this Thursday, but it's going to be next week. So that'll be the last day that I see you, and then you guys are off to Christmas break. You may not turn this in after we get back from break, because it's going to be a whole new semester and new grades and everything. So if you don't turn in by the 18th, get it in by the 18th. Please reference the scoring rubric for this project. I will provide that for you. I will go over it with you in class. And you need to color your map and make it look decent. A lot of you are like, well, I can't draw and blah, blah, blah. No, you need to color the map and make it look decent and try to do your best and put your best foot forward. You are not drawing like, people or anything crazy. You're just drawing like buildings and rivers and mountains, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not overly complex. So anyway, please have fun with this project, and also please make sure you get your 10 context clues done on the back of your map, and make sure you get my seal of approval before you move on. All right, thank you.